Hello, welcome to another episode of the Pianoforte Podcast. I'm your co-host Felicia, and I'm joined by my co-host Audrey.
Hello.
Hello, Audrey.
Hi, how are you?
Good as ever. It's a nice Saturday.
Yeah, we're recording on a Saturday. I attended a wedding last night, so my brain right now is a bit all over the place. But it's fine because our topic today is gonna be also something fun. It's not gonna be very very informative,
very
I
deep.
guess. It's not very educative as well. Educative?
Educational.
Yeah, it's not gonna be educational, but it's fun.
Yeah, for
So-
us. And hopefully for you as well.
Yeah. It will be.
Yeah. So today, we are going to be talking about some of our teaching stories that we've collected.
Yeah, teaching experiences.
Some funny ones.
A lot
Yeah.
of the funnier ones. We will not. We probably would share also the hard ones later on, but we want to start
Yes.
easy and light and like you know what?
And just funny.
Teaching is fun.
Especially when you're teaching a bunch of young kids.
You are teaching a bunch of young kids. So
Yeah.
you want to start with one of your stories?
But I just want to clarify first. When I say young kids, like they range from kindergarten 1 level. So some of them are like 5 years old. 5
Yeah.
and 6.
Okay, so
5-year-olds give
below
very
7.
funny stories. Yes.
Good.
Let me see. There are a few just floating in my head. Okay, I'll just tell you one of the more recent ones that I actually haven't told you yet, Audrey.
Oh
So
yeah,
this
because
is
my phone
us-
has a weird conundrum. Is that why you haven't told me?
No, because I knew we were going to record this, so I just thought I'll just keep it on the
So
side
you're
first.
keeping it for the pod.
keeping it from
so
you.
it's a premiere.
Yeah, so this one has to do with a 6-year-old boy.
Mm-hmm.
And as in he's 6 this year, and he's very bubbly as a kid. He learns very fast, and he has fun in class, I guess. Anyway, I was letting him listen to a bit of Hungarian dance number 5 in class. Brahms Hungarian dance number 5.
Okay.
Dum, doo, 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 doo. Yes, and then his first comment was, "It sounds like a marriage song."
Mary.
Marriage, like I guess like a wedding song or something. It's not the funniest things I've
Why?
heard.
Why?
I have no idea. One thing I've learned: sometimes you shouldn't question
it
kids.
sounds almost like like a polka, even though it's not. But it has a bounce for me.
Yeah,
But why?
but it's quite heavy. It's a very heavy piece, you know.
Yeah.
It's like doom, doo, doom.
Why does it why okay, yeah, that's quite funny.
I don't know.
That's quite funny. If I would be teaching that kid, I would be like, okay. Why
I was just
though?
like,
But
okay.
okay. Right?
I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah, just like okay, I guess.
Yeah. I guess I don't know. I don't know what kind of like wedding songs he listens to, but sure. That one is just
I
like,
don't
that one
know
just
what
really tickles
kind
me.
of wedding he attends to.
I have no idea.
I mean, I barely remember weddings that I attended to below the age of 7. So I guess I cannot comprehend with his mindset.
Yeah, no, I don't know either. It's funny.
I mean, yeah, that's really funny. That is one good story. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. You get anything
Yeah.
else? I mean, I got less, so I would let you
I'll
tell
just-
couples, and then maybe I'll
You can
throw
feel
in.
free to butt in anytime. So, on the same day
Mm-hmm.
as that kid, I was teaching another 6-year-old boy
Yeah,
who is very quiet.
yeah.
He hardly he never speaks unless I ask him a question directly, and I have to wait for him to answer. Meaning I have to maintain eye contact and be like, I'm waiting for you to answer. You're not getting out of this one.
I think you have. Yeah, I think you have mentioned that
I mentioned
student
about this kid to you.
a couple
Yeah,
times,
so
but not the funny story, I guess.
okay, this one is, I don't know whether it's funny. It's not like outrageously funny like the last story,
Yeah.
but what I did in class was at one point I asked him to write down the starting alphabet of the song.
Mhm.
Yeah, because sometimes with the method books for the younger kids especially, they have like a little blank, so they'll be like, okay, this is finger number 3 on the first note, but in the book they want the kids to identify what is the first alphabet, and then they write it down.
Yeah, I mean, even though my method books here in Germany, they don't specifically ask for that, but I also ask my students, be like, okay, yeah, it
Yeah.
is finger number 3, but it's not always E.
Yes.
After a while, they got used to having the hands like with the thumb on the
In
C.
the C5 finger position, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I mean,
first 5 finger positions. For
yeah,
non-pianists out there, your thumb is on the C. That's the first thing you
for the
learn.
right hand.
Yeah,
For
right
the right
hand.
hand.
Actually, for
Yes.
both hands. For my method books,
Yeah, kind of.
it's the cuddly thumb. I always say. Yeah,
I
it's a
need that
cuddly.
word, cuddly thumb. Cuddly thumb, yes.
Yeah,
I'm stealing
okay,
that. Thank
hey,
you.
it's a, so it's quite educational today. Okay, I guess. But
Yes.
yeah, it's the first position that you learn on the piano. Um, and I guess now you're in your case that your student has the finger number, but they should fill out the note
The note,
names.
like which alphabet is it? The note
Yeah, the
name,
note
yeah.
names. Then kinda I kinda suspect that it's not the normal position.
Yeah, they change this a little bit.
Okay.
But sometimes it's just reinforcements because like the hands are in the same position, but they don't start on like the C, they start on the D or the E.
Oh yeah, it could be also a reinforcement thing.
Yeah, so
Good.
sometimes like they do that as well, which is actually really great. Yeah, and at this point I'm just writing in the book like what the kid was doing in class already. And he had trouble filling in the note and he was very silent about it
Mhm.
until later I was like, it was a little while and I looked over, I was like, do you need help? Then he looked at me and he batted his eyelashes.
I love how kids try to like they try to talk to
It's like
you
the eye
without
power,
words.
right?
They're like with brain power be like not teleportation. What the heck? What what is wrong with my brain?
Telepathy.
Yeah, telepathy.
Telepathy.
Uh, it's not teleportation, it's telepathy, but it's somewhat teleport your mind to the other person's mind.
Your thoughts, right?
Yeah, your thoughts. And then yeah, I don't remember clearly because a lot of my students are more outspoken actually in fact.
Yeah.
So I don't really remember if I have had that.
Yeah, but with this kid, what happened was after that, I realized that if he has a trouble, he has something that he doesn't know how to do, he's not going to ask for help. So I was telling him, okay, look, if I ask you to do something and you don't know what you can do, or you don't know how to do that, what you can do is you can like make some noise, play something on the piano, make a bit of noise, or you can raise your hand.
And
So
then
when I asked him to fill in the next alphabet and he didn't know how to do that, his hand shot up very straight, like super straight.
tack.
Yeah, that was really funny.
I mean
But it's kind of nice that I am able to kind of establish a way of communicating as well. I guess.
that's cute. That's cute. I don't have I don't think I have a student that's that quiet that I would ask them to specifically like just do something. Um, in fact, it's usually I also usually just ask them like, "Hey, is it clear?" And then they would just answer yes or no.
But sometimes they don't even nod their head. They just stare at you and they just look at the book again.
How old is this kid, by the way?
This kid is 6 this year.
Wow. No, I haven't. No, I don't think I haven't. I don't think I have encountered that case of silence.
Well, I think he just doesn't really like to speak a lot. But he has no problem on the learning side, so he learns actually very fast by himself. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
It's fine. But I think it's just my students are chattier. I guess that's
Yeah.
the take that we can that we can have for for this
Yeah.
moment. Although they're
Actually, it's very.
chattier, but I
Actually, the thing is this, right? When you have students who are very chatty,
mm-hmm.
you also have to talk a lot because you're trying to gear them back in the direction of like continuing with lessons, right? And then on the other hand, when you have students like this who are like super quiet, you have to talk even more because you have to kind of
Actually, if my student is
fill up the space.
chatty, I'm not talking a lot. I would be like, okay, cool, good. So, Quatschglas ist voll. We're going back. Quatschglas, it's just a term that I use when I'm teaching. It's like chatting glass.
Chatting time is over. Oh.
Yeah, chatting. It's just kind of like a chatting moment. I mean, glass literally means like a glass, like
Oh yeah,
a thing
a
that
glass of
you,
water.
a vehicle for your water. And I just like, okay, my glass is full. Let's do something else. Like the Quatsch glass is full. Let's do.
I'm saying that phrase as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The chatting glass is full. Maybe you can do that in English.
Yeah, those two are the ones that are the more recent ones. What else do I have? There is one that is more common because you know when we teach, I mean, all beginners, we go through like the notes on the score, right? Like this is the A, this is the B, the C, and then you also go through the finger numbers. So sometimes I'll be pointing to the notes on the page and I'll just be asking a kid. I was like, so what's the next note? And let's say maybe it's an E and you have finger number 3 on it. They just go, this is letter 3.
I have that as well. Be like,
right?
What is the next note? Fünf. And I'm like, finger fünf. It's the number, finger 5. But it's not the note name necessarily.
Yeah. And then the other one, the reverse also holds true, which is like, okay, so what finger number is on G? Or like, what finger number is on this note? They'll be like, finger number G.
It's more seldom to me the other way around.
Right.
Because they're more a lot of my kids. It's not my kids. A lot of my students, they're more comfortable with numbers. Since I guess in Germany at least, what I've seen is that they have the tendency is for children to learn numbers before letters. So they're a lot less familiar with letters, especially the younger ones, the ones that haven't gotten to P1, like a primary school, or if they are in P1, they just start officially learning alphabet because it's not mandatory as well for like kindergarten, like to learn alphabet. And I kind of remember back in Indonesia as well, I already actually learned alphabet in like preschool, like pre-elementary, so like kindergarten-ish.
We do that here as well.
So yeah, a lot of my students, they are way more comfortable with numbers, like leaps ahead with numbers in terms of like familiarity. So it's kind of like it's very rare that it's the other way around, that I'm like pointing at a note and be like, okay, that's finger. You play with finger number 3. What is the letter? And they. Oh no. That is a letter G. What? Yeah. If I point at a note, it's more rare for them to answer it with the letters instead of the.
Okay.
They would just be like, it's a 5, and I'm like.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, not wrong. Right now, it's not wrong.
In this case, you're not wrong.
It's a 5. It's a 5. It's but it has a name. Yeah. Also, talking about students not learning alphabet before entering schools, I actually have one problem that I don't know if it's a German thing. I might have to research on this a little bit more before talking about it. But anyway, but they don't learn alphabet. Like I mean, they learn the alphabet um in the Reihenfolge. What is
Like
Reihenfolge?
A B C D E F G.
Yes, just as a normal alphabet. I think they'll
Mm-hmm.
learn it like that way, but they learn deeper about the alphabet and the sounds of the alphabet, not consecutively. So not like today's A B C only, and the next day is D E F only, but it's more like this week as M B P, like more of the
The sound.
phonetic. Yeah.
Uh
So
huh.
so some of my students would have problems on certain letters, for example like D and F, which they touch a bit later on the phonetic subject.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and then like I know one of my student actually specifically has trouble with D. I don't know why.
Like the saying part, the recognizing part, the
She
writing
just
part.
keeps forgetting D. She remembers
Oh,
all the notes, but she just doesn't remember the D, and then she'd be like vow, which is a V, and be like, we have never gone through vow in the piano class. And then she told me like, yeah, but we learned V at the school, and like, well, this is a piano class, not the school. This is a different thing, honey.
yeah. Oh, kids are hilarious. Very
Yeah, I
funny.
mean that is one weird thing, but quite funny, I guess. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, so you don't, okay, so you don't know D, but okay, sure.
Yeah, okay. Wait, there's a few more. There's actually one more that is also pretty general. Like, multiple students do this. Okay, so first things first, Singapore usually is very warm outside, and our
It's a
piano studios
tropical
always have
country.
air conditioning. Yeah, but my studio in general is quite cold,
Air conditioned, yes.
so the it's very air conditioned. Not all the studios are that cold, but mine is on the colder side. I don't control the temperature, by the way, so it's not me. but but the piano chair, I guess, is very cooling, and a lot
Yeah.
of young kids, they like to just splat and just like lie on their tummy across the piano bench and
Oh,
stick their cheeks to the chair
the cheeks.
instead of
Like
sitting down
so,
on it.
like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Like when you're sleeping on a pillow.
yeah, yeah, like that whole upper body just across the piano bench.
That is okay. Well, yeah, I cannot comment on that.
And then
I
I'm like,
we
I know
don't
it's very
have that
comfortable,
here.
but can you please take your books out first?
We don't have that here since a lot of the rooms in Germany are not air conditioned. It's more likely to have a heater instead of
Yeah.
an aircon. Although aircon could also work as a heater. Some aircon blows warmer thing
Yeah.
air thing. But yeah, we don't have that thing as a general issue that I have never encountered my students just like slap their body on the piano bench. But
Yeah.
I have I have had many brain meltdowns. I
Brain
mean,
meltdowns?
it's just in summer because we don't have
Oh.
air condition. We don't have
And it
aircon.
gets very warm.
It gets very warm, and it's just like their brain just melted. They just forgot everything. They cannot think of anything.
They can't focus, basically,
They
right?
cannot focus. Basically, that's the issue. Um, and then to a certain degree, depending on the situation, I would fan my student
Why don't you just...
because
Isn't
it
that a, like
helps.
an electric fan or something? Is that not a standing fan?
In some of my music school, there is. In some others, there is none.
You could buy those kind of like handheld fan. Then you don't have to do the work. You just hold it there or just put it on the
Yeah,
piano.
I don't. Also, I don't like fans because I kind of get sick easily if I'm being blown by like an electric
Oh,
fan. So I personally don't like it as well. So I would just like, you know what? I'll do the labor. It's fine if it's just like 2 minutes. It's fine. It's just like when you play this 2 bars, I would fan you while you do that, or when I explain. When
mm-hmm.
they're taking a rest, so their brain can rest also properly.
Yeah.
It's quite
Oh,
a
that's
thing.
interesting.
It's quite the opposite actually, right? Than yours.
Yeah. But the last time one of my students had the brain was just like it just flipped off, switched off rather, was okay. So this kid, she is now primary one, so
Mhm.
like form one, whatever
Mhm.
you call it there, um, and so school has just started, like second third week of school,
Mhm.
and I guess she's still trying to get used to like the school schedule and everything, and now she has
Mhm.
homework to do.
Mhm.
That's harder than the homework you get from kindergarten, maybe.
Ki- I
Do
mean,
they get homework? I don't know. But anyway, this kid was very sleepy when she came to my class recently,
mhm. Oh
enough that she
yeah.
couldn't concentrate. So things that she could usually do, she couldn't do that day.
Oh yeah, cause your what is it called again?
School year?
Your school year
Which one are you
starts
talking
in
about?
January, so
Yes.
you have now like Schulanfänger, a couple new
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Schulanfänger, like school
Yeah, so
starters,
like, it's so
P1.
fun when you see like, kids going from K2 to P1,
Yeah,
kindergarten 2 to like primary
primary.
1, and it's very fun to see the change.
It's a huge switch. I have had
Yeah.
back in Indonesia. I once had a student that cried on my lesson, uh, because she just entered primary school from kindergarten,
Yeah.
and she went to a different primary school where none of her friends from her kindergartens went
Oh.
to. So she was very down. So kind of the same as your student. She did absolutely terrible that day. I remember be like, "Hey, you usually can do this. Like, I know you can do this. What's wrong? Can you talk to me? Like, at least what can I help you? Are you suddenly confused or what?" And she cried. I was like, "Yo,
Oh.
this is somebody's kid that I do not want to mess around with." I also, because I was pretty young back then, was just like my side hustle in high
Mhm.
school. Uh, I was like, what? What is this? A crying kid? And um, I think it's also like one of the first case that I got a crying kid ever,
Mhm.
like in a lesson. And one of the last. I don't remember having any crying kids after that. Anyway, probably that's why it's so impactful to me. She cried and then she just like, yeah, I don't have friends in my new school, and I'm like, what? And then she told me the entire
Oh.
story, and I was like, oh, okay. Okay, so you're sad, basically. That's why your brain doesn't work. I mean, that
Mhm.
is I think it's not a fun experience for my student, but it's
Yeah.
quite a journey for me. Like, just like trying to calm a kid down. That it doesn't have to do with the music. It doesn't have to do with you, but
Mhm.
it has to do with them personally. And I'm just like, okay,
Yeah,
see,
but it's
you're
very important to sort that out as well.
yeah. Sometimes I do feel like being a piano teacher is somewhat being a therapist for other students. You know, in that case,
Mhm.
for that one young child. In fact, I still know that she is still playing piano till this day.
Oh.
So yeah, I taught her when I was in high school. So it is well over 7 years ago. No, not 7. I mean, I've been in Germany for 5. So yeah, it is well over 7 years ago, definitely.
Mhm.
Because I didn't teach my last year in Indonesia. So yeah. So she's still playing piano, which is cool to know. Like, whoa, okay.
It's always very fun when you see that,
Don't
right?
have you ever had? I don't know if you have ever had a longer like period of like knowing a student. Because for me, like,
No.
okay.
Yeah, I don't have that experience.
So because it's for me, it's kind of cool because I feel like I contributed somewhat to her love, right? If
Mm-hmm.
somewhat, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's also huge props to her next teacher, which is my ex teacher. So
Ah.
yeah. So after I had her, when I quit, my teacher had her. Um, that's how I know she's still continuing because I'm still in contact with my ex teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's quite fun.
Oh, that's sweet.
I mean, I think my ex teacher is listening to the podcast. I think sometimes she does. Mm. But in case you do, you know who you are. I'm not mentioning names. I don't know if you want to be mentioned or not. But if you want to, you can just text me. Yeah, we're trying to not mention names for this episode, just
Yeah.
to just for privacy's sake.
Just keep it general.
Yeah,
You can enjoy a story without names anyway.
that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kid in class, she had to have yawned like 10 times at least in half an hour.
Oh. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
and then I explained to the mom outside afterwards. I said, oh, she was very sleepy in class. Things that she usually could do, she couldn't really do. And then the mom was just saying, it's like, oh yeah, today she's a bit more tired than usual. And then because this kid, she gets up at 6:30 in the morning,
Oh,
which is
that's
quite
pretty
common.
early actually. I mean,
No, like there are kids who wake up at 5 or 5:30 as well. I used to wake up at 5:30.
oh, back in Indonesia, I
5:45
used to
and
wake up at
5:30.
5:45 as well, around ish,
Mhm.
depending.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. It's quite. I
Yes.
mean, for kids, it's still quite early though, 6:30.
Yeah, it's not very good for them to have to wake up that early.
What time
But
does actually Singaporean school starts? Sorry, I sidetracked a little bit.
7:25.
You know what? That's quite okay
Hmm?
because some schools in Indonesia starts at like 6:45, 6:30, depending.
6:45.
Yeah, and I'm just like, who are
That means they
you?
end school earlier as well, right?
Are you monsters? Huh?
But in that case, do those schools, do they end school earlier as well?
Well, we finished. It was my school actually.
Oh.
We finished at like 13. I mean, it's not a primary school. It was a secondary school, but it's still
Okay.
early.
That's
It's
still really early.
still, in my opinion, still early.
Yeah.
Was secondary school or even like a high school. But we finished around 1:30, 1:15, 1:30. I kind of forget already what time
Mhm.
we finished. But yeah, it's about 7 hours of school. We do have breaks though, 2 times of breaks in the middle. So it's kind of okay, but also just like so early.
Yeah. That's early.
And I'm quite a
Yeah.
in Indonesia. I always sleep like until um very late. If nobody wakes me up, I can sleep until like 8 and 9 in Indonesia. I don't know why. In Germany, I don't actually wake up that late. I wake up around 7, 8, depending.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I don't know. In Indonesia, I just sleep more. The bed is comfier.
Maybe it's the weather as well.
Aircon.
Yeah. It's nice with the aircon.
I mean,
It's so hot outside.
it's German winter right
Sometimes.
now. It's cooler than aircon.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any stories? Should I continue?
I kind of wonder if you have non-children's story. Can we sidetrack a little bit? If you don't, it's also
Let me
fine.
think. I mean, not really. It's just some of the adult students I have. They're pretty cute. In that they come to class without having practice, and you're like, I think one time one of my adult learners, she came to class and she was like, teacher, I think you're going to scold me already. I didn't have time to practice this week.
Oh, a lot of my adult students say that. Be like, I know you will not get angry, but I haven't practiced. Just like directly before we begin with anything, just entered the room. Be like, so I got a confession to make. I'm like, I think I know what the confession is. And they're like, I think you do.
I
It's
mean, you want to
usually
kind of
that.
soften the blow, right?
Huh?
Yeah, sometimes when I go for my own composition classes, sometimes at the start I'm just like, okay, I didn't actually get a lot done this week
It's just like,
or this time around.
I think it's the human nature to just like, you know what? I'll just
Like,
confess it
Please
before.
don't have too much expectations of me
Yeah,
today, kind of thing.
before they have a certain like expectation or whatever. Just like, I'll
You want to just
confess.
lower it down?
Yeah, I'll confess my sin. Then that's it, please. Right? But
Yeah.
but that's a general adult thing. I guess we also do that, I guess, right? You also do that
Yeah,
as a
I
student.
do that, yeah.
I if I haven't done anything, I mean, I haven't gotten any class recently. I haven't been in a class, but if I have a rehearsal with my band, for example, and I just had an absolute wreck of a disaster of a week, then I would be like, just to let you know, I might I might literally make this rehearsal a disaster probably. No, I wouldn't say that, but I would just say I would probably mess up many times, not just a couple times, many times. My brain is all over the place this week. Sorry in advance.
Mm.
I also do that in rehearsals, but not in class. I
Yeah.
haven't had any class anyway. Yeah, but I do have one a couple actually very specifically adult students funnier moments. Is that I mean when you're teaching adults, sometimes it kind of feels like friend-ish because they're the adults that I'm teaching. Some of them are not wildly older or wildly younger than me. They're about my age. So
Mm-hmm.
I have been to like some of my students' birthday party, for example.
Okay.
Weirdly enough, they just invited me, just be like, "Hey, you know what? Just come in, just come by if you have time. If you don't, it's fine." And then, luckily, it was like more like a park party situation
Mm-hmm.
outside. It was in summer, so it's all good. Yeah, I enjoyed a couple slices of pizza, talked to them, talked to their friends a bit. But, well, if you're coming to a party, it's kind of expected to see them with their friends, right? I have
Yeah.
once been in a bar. I was still a student, like a university student, and my student was also a university student. So we're very similar in age. And then I went to a student bar, a specifically student bar. And to somewhat my surprise, I saw my student. He also saw me. And he just grabbed me in the shoulder. He was pretty drunk at that point. Grabbed me in the shoulder and be like, "Hi, what's up? Nice to see you here and not at the P place that you're teaching in." And I'm like,
Oh, this is hilarious.
I'm like, right, yeah. What? Yeah, I also exist outside of that building. And
Yes.
then we talk with each other friends. I was with my other friends, and he was also with his other friends, and be like, "Yo, it's cool. It's just all students. I mean, it's fine."
Yeah.
Uh, not to get this wrong though. I mean, as I said, with some of my students that are the same age, we do talk a lot like friends. So I was not bothered by it. It's just funny that you just like, whoa, We literally really met in a bar and good. I guess I need to be
Yeah.
more careful with adult students, not to get too friendly, I guess. But it's
Mm.
also, I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Like if you have similar age-ish student to somehow not to be friendly. To establish a little bit more that you are the teacher, it's kind of hard sometimes for me. Maybe it's also just my
Mm.
personality.
Yeah, I think I am perhaps a bit colder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. But that is the one story of a adult student.
Oh, that's really funny though.
Yeah, right. It doesn't happen that often.
But
Only
the thing about students thinking that you don't exist outside the classroom. So my music school is in like kind of a open shopping mall-ish thing. It's like community place. So it's very open. There's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of places to eat. Quite a lot at least. And other tuition centers as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the toilet is outside. So one time I went to the toilet and then I saw my student there.
Mm.
It's actually the same student. It's the student who was very sleepy.
Ah.
And then I looked at her. I said, "Hi." And she looked at me. She was like, just staring, very suspiciously. Like, as in, she was staring like I was a very suspicious person. And then she was like, "Piano teacher?" Back then she was still in kindergarten. I think she was K2, so it should be about 1 year ago.
Oh.
She just looked at me. She was like, "Piano teacher?"
Yeah. That's also a thing, right? Like in Asia, they still call you with like a honorary something.
Yeah.
As in, like you are called teach or teacher.
Teacher or Miss something.
Yeah, Miss.
Mr. something, whatever. Yeah.
Are you called Miss Tang then?
No, my student just called me Miss Felicia.
Okay, Miss Felicia. Yeah, and in Indonesia,
Or
it would
Teacher
also
Felicia.
be
Depends.
like Miss Audrey. Wait. Yeah. Anyway, to clarify, my nickname is Audrey, but
Yeah?
but my actual first name is Elizabeth. So
So your students call you what?
Elizabeth, because it's the
Okay.
in German, the friendly name, like your nickname, is supposed to be your first name. So weirdly enough, I just wired my brain that it's like if I'm friendly, but if I don't think they're as a friend, they can call me Elizabeth. But if I want you to be
Okay.
my actual friend, you you better call me Audrey, or else I probably would be mad. Which
Wait,
is
so
weird because in Germany
right.
it would be the other way around. If you call them by the second or the last name, it's more distant.
Wait, so that means Elizabeth is your given name and Audrey is your
Somewhat
your family name?
surname, yeah, somewhat.
somewhat. Okay.
Yeah, we don't have to go through that, but that is.
Yeah,
my
no, that's the part that always tends to confuse me a
It
little bit. But
it
sure, I call you
still
Audrey anyway.
confused me sometimes. Confuses myself. How is that even possible? Good. Do you have a couple more stories that you want to throw in before we
There's one
wrap up?
there's one main one that is also really, really, really funny.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're teaching note values,
Mm.
for you guys you'll say quarter, eighth note, half
Oh yeah,
notes.
we do say that. And then after
Dotted
a
half
while, I
notes, right?
got my brain just doesn't function in quavers, semi-quavers, stuff.
Yeah, so I still teach in like crotchet, quaver,
It is actually
minim,
crotchet
semi-brief.
stuff thingy is more a British way.
No, it is very British because
It is a British way.
yeah, and I have multiple students,
Mhm.
again young ones. When I'm testing them, I'll be like, I just point to a quarter note and I'll be like, okay, so what is the name of this? And sometimes they say cockroach.
I have heard this. I
I'm
have
like,
I have
no.
heard this story, but I can I can relate to my English has never been the I want to make a German fun, but okay, I will try. My English is not the yellow of the egg. That's a German saying. Nicht die gelbe das Ei.
What does that actually mean?
It's not the best part of me. kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not the yellow of the egg, so the yellow part of the egg's the best part.
It is the tastier part.
It
Come
is
on.
tasty. There's more texture.
Yeah, it's tastier. So it's German saying. If you want to say like, oh, it's my English or anything is not good, you just stick that idiom in the end. But my English in the beginning of my livelihood, until like I think P5 or P4 was quite bad actually. So back then I had a lot of trouble learning the crochet stuff thingy. Even though I did learn it without specifically attaching it to being an English word. It's just a foreign word. But yeah, crochet, cockroach. Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of understand that kid's problem. Even, yeah.
Yes. Then the other one is minim, half counts.
Yeah.
A kid has one specific kid. Call it a minion.
But that's a more
That's
recent.
kind of cute.
That's a more recent children, I guess, because the minions didn't exist in our childhood.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
Yeah.
And then the funniest is semi-brief.
Semi-brief,
whole note.
yeah.
They remember semi.
Mhm.
They don't remember what comes after that. And they say the only thing they know,
Mhm.
semicircle. And I'm like, no, it's not a semicircle. You do not draw a semicircle.
I mean, it is a circle. They're not wrong. They're absolutely
They're not wrong, but it's not half a circle.
But it's not a
Semicircle is
semicircle.
like just
It is a full circle, actually.
It's a full circle, yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay.
But it's just really funny. You're like,
Anyway.
semicircle.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I got similar ones to that. But sometimes my students got confused between note names, note length, and fingers. It's just like a bunch of terms that they just hear every once a week. So I kind of understand their confusions.
You
It's fine.
just keep repeating it to them.
I will repeat like a broken record. It's fine.
Yeah. That's how I think about it as well.
So, cool. I mean, we can
Yeah.
always do a second part of this because obviously we got more stories, definitely, that we probably can share in the future or, yeah, I mean, in the future as well, if we keep teaching, then we would collect more stories. So maybe we can make
Yeah.
this every once in a while as an, not official, but kind of series. Yeah. Do you want to go to recommendations? Do you have recommendations for this episode, or do you want to skip
Oh,
that
I
out?
need to think.
Because I do actually.
Let's do recommendations.
I do for once don't have to think about recommendations. Usually before
Okay,
we
I got mine,
record,
yeah.
we would talk about the recommendations a little bit. Now it's a
later.
little TMI to the audience. Usually I am the one that's like, I don't know what I would recommend. I listen to a lot of the same things over and over again because if I like it, I like it.
Yeah, I do the same as well.
But yeah, I just not found, but I just got a time to finally listen to this entire album last night in the train. It's an album by an artist. I guess I could say he is quite a K-pop artist. His name is Eric Nam. I've never mentioned this to you, Fish.
Okay.
Usually I like his songs, but it's not that much. But I really, really, really dig this album. The album is called There and Back Again. And the track that I really like, there are two tracks that I really like. The entire album is great, by the way. But the two tracks are Lost on Me and Wildfire. I don't know why. I was jamming through it last night, was jamming through it this morning. Really liked it, and I was like, I know I have to talk about this. Because, yeah, I always also just talk about songs that I like in private with Felicia. But yeah.
Yeah.
if you compare it, just for your mind, maybe Felicia, before you listen to it, um, it's kind of like I kind of want to say it's kind of Shawn Mendesy, Harry Stylesy kind of pop, but also there are some elements that I feel like, oh, it's still somewhat K-pop. Talking to uh referring to a couple episodes back then, I mentioned that I do listen to K-pop, and haven't I didn't know which band or whatever that I want to um introduce to you, Fish, like in
Mm-hmm.
in a podcast or to the audience. But Eric Nam is pretty cool. I think it's kind of a good transition for non-K-pop listeners. Yeah, to listen to
To step
somewhat
into the K-pop world.
somewhat K-pop.
Mm-hmm.
So now
Oh, that's cool.
spots on you.
Aha. For me, I am back to the classical side again.
Woo!
This is a piece of music I actually listened from when I was younger, and I've always liked it quite a bit.
Mhm.
It's called In the Morning Mood, orchestral piece,
Bye.
Edvard Grieg,
Ah. Oh.
from the Peer Gynt Suite. It's the first piece from the Peer Gynt Suite in the yeah. Yes, the flute part. And you know the thing is this song, this piece of music, not song, this piece, yeah, because the thing is my dad has this like album that he usually put in the car to like for us to listen to when he drove us, like me and my sister, to school. And so like this is like primary school days when I was maybe around 8 years old,
Mhm.
10 years old, can't remember,
Mhm.
up to 11, 12 years old.
Mhm.
And this piece is one of the pieces of music that was in there.
Yeah.
And like, you know, when we're on the road, it's maybe like 6:15 in the morning. The sky is lightening up. The sun is not out yet. So it's actually very fitting.
Aww.
And in that album, the first few songs at least, the first few pieces at least, it is the only piece in major. Everything else was in minor key.
Lol.
I think yeah, it's one of the ones that stuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, Pierre Gint, is it a
Peer Gynt
Gint?
Suite.
Yeah, Pierre Gint is arguably the most popular music pieces. Like, it got the morning mood.
In the Hall of the,
Hall of the
Mountain,
Mountain
Kings,
Kings.
Anitra's Dance.
Yeah, Anitra Sense is the one.
Solveig's song.
Yeah.
Solveig's song.
Yeah, and
That
it's,
was lovely.
I mean, some of my,
You know what?
maybe-
Let me change my recommendation to the entire of the Peer Gynt Suite.
yeah, it's an entire, it's a
Yeah,
great
everything is
suite.
great in there.
It's a great suite. But some of my friends, at least I've heard, they said it's very memeable. Because
Memeable?
it's kind of like a meme-ish music. I don't know why they say it. Maybe because of the Hall of the Mountain Kings.
Yeah.
I mean, you can put it into memes if you want to, but you don't have to. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so I guess we can wrap up now.
Yeah, we can.
Definitely. It's a fun one. It's also maybe a reoccurring topics, as I said. And yeah, I hope you also have fun with us for this fun episode. And we'll
Yes,
see you.
and I'd like to add in one more thing.
Yes.
So, we are adding in a blog to
Yeah.
the podcast.
We're adding a blog.
So, it should be out by the time this episode is out.
Should be.
I mean, it technically is out already when we
Oh.
are recording this.
Oh,
But
we still need to fix some things.
yes, yeah. But anyway, go and check it out. It is, what's the website? Oh no,
Pianoforte Podcast .wordpress.com.
.wordpress. Yes,
Yeah. You can find
one word, all small letters, no symbols in between.
you can find all our episodes notes,
Show notes.
every episodes. I think there will be also more sign how do you efficient list of the recommendations that we have done. Hopefully.
Show notes?
Huh?
No. What were you doing? What were you looking for?
Like in the notes, hopefully we will also add the recommendations. So because
Okay,
it's kind of hard, when you just listen to some people talk once, and then
or
be
like hum the melody, like
where is
2
it
bars of the
again?
melody.
Yeah. So hopefully
Yeah.
the notes will help with the recommendations as well to keep track
Yes.
on things. Yeah. And
Yeah.
with
Okay.
that, we'll see you next
Next
time.
time.
Oh, that was together. Cool. Bye.
Bye.